Well, hello folks, welcome back to the allotment. I'm currently sat just with my feet up and just taking a minute to enjoy the nice blue skies. It's a gorgeous day, and I had a comment on my last video, the chili harvest, which was amazing, by the way, if you missed that one. One of my patrons just said, "Wow, JP, you sound really tired. I hope everything's okay." And it made me stop and think, you know what, you're right, I am tired, and not really anything specific. It's just been a really busy season, and it feels like it's coming to the end of the season now, and I'm on a bit of a crash, you know. And it's a shame because it's not the end of the season. I've still got quite a little while on this plot, sort of harvesting and getting things ready. And so we're here today to try and do a bit more of that. And for today's harvest, I've had to bring up my fancy truck. My nice artisanal wooden one, which I don't use too often because it's not actually that big. And you know, I'm just such a successful vegetable grower. I always have too many harvests to fit in it. But no, the big one that I usually use is still on the kitchen side, full of chili peppers, waiting for me to do something with. Got lots of sauce to make, lots of drying to do as well. But where should we start? Because there's a lot of things that we could be harvesting at the moment. You know what? There's actually a little harvest from the new plot. You can see here, this is all lots of risings and things that I've been digging out when doing the polytunnel, which is great because it means I can actually make this a bit more of a growing area instead of just a really thin layer of soil. There's actually still some potatoes in here that I might have a little go at digging out today, but this is where it is. Look at this. Can you see them? It's a massive weedy patch. But just the other day I pulled the onions and I've sort of been leaving them to cure. We've had some nice dry weather. And look at this, some nice little brown onions. These were sets from a garden centre after all of my original ones failed. And I'm just pretty pleased that I've managed to grow onions without getting white rot completely decimating them. I've picked up the biggest one to show you, to make myself look good. There's some real piddlers, but it's still food, isn't it? First thing in the truck. Just over here, I'll tell you what, the parsnips, these are just keeping me waiting in suspense. I've got no idea what these are going to be doing underground. I did pull one of them because it had forced itself out of the ground, and look at it, I think this is an ant's nest. The ants have actually buried this one. Yeah, look, it's crawling with them, which is a bit weird, but it does look really nice in here, that kind of manure layer breaking down. And it's not... I think by now they should have much bigger vegetation, shouldn't they? We've got a little competition, and someone, I can't remember your name, sorry, but they posted a winning picture in the Discord, and it was just incredible. So people are getting a really nice big harvest from these kind of early sowings. Like, there's a little bit there, a little bit of promise poking out the top, but who knows what it looks like underneath. I'm going to probably wait until these have had a freeze and then have a go. Elsewhere, lots of stuff is really looking like it's done for the season now. These outdoor cucumbers, nope, they're done. A lot of the squash has died back as well. It's just wheelbarrow full of soil from the polytunnel digging. I do have one butternut, look at that. I'm going to leave that for a little while yet, but very pleased with that. Just one, which, I mean, isn't it? Oh, no, tell a lie. There's another one under that vegetation. A little bit smaller, but that's a little win. There's even, look at this. You know, I hadn't seen this. I've been just kind of leaving a lot of this stuff to its own devices. Oh no. Oh, I thought that was like a little worm thing, but I think it's just a centipede on the roots. Oh no, that is completely rotten. Damn it. Oh well. Never mind. Like, that's what my onions normally do. But look at this as well, very, very pleased. Over here, I've finally grown an uchiki curry. I think that's how it's pronounced anyway, one of these little mini pumpkins, which looks really cool. So I'll be cutting that off soon, leaving as much of that stem as possible. That looks really cool. But yeah, that's nice. I've been leaving that, and just gives me a little smile when I see that little burst of colour. I think it's time to go into the greenhouse and have a look at the tomatoes. This year's big success, really. The brassicas just en route to the greenhouse clearly need a lot of work. I've got some green sprouting broccoli in here, which is so completely over. And it was pretty horrible, to be honest. We didn't harvest much of it because it just didn't taste as nice as the purple sprouting, which is further in deeper. Lots of purple sprouting coming along, and some sprouts too. This curly kale, not very nice either. So I'm probably going to whip all of this lot out. There's some red cabbages, maybe starting to heart up. just a little bit, which I'm really pleased about. So I'll take this out and probably put this half of the bed to sleep. And then I can make this a bit higher as well, because lots of this brassica is just pushing right on the edge, and the pigeons will start soon. They'll start nibbling through. Look at the whitefly, oh my God. Can you see them? They're all just flying around. I think the sun's waking them up. There is a lot of whitefly this year on mine. It doesn't tend to do the plants too much harm, but it is a bit gross. It's not too bad with broccoli because you don't end up eating them. It's cabbage that you've really got to watch out for, because you end up eating the actual leaves. Anyway, the greenhouse. I'm just so pleased with this year. This is such a winner. A real marathon to build, as you're all very familiar with, but oh, what a harvest it's already given me, and so many smiles. And it's still full of tomatoes that have got a lot of ripening to do. So I'm hoping they still get time. The cucumbers are done now, so the spider mites are back in a big way. There's lots of vegetation dieback. The cucumbers now are just really weird, so really small and misshapen. And to be honest, they're not very nice, which is a shame when they're like this. There's something that's gone wrong. I assume it's just something to do with the spider mite attacks kind of screwing up the plant a bit and, you know, making it do things incorrectly. Just down here, I've got my only seedlings for this year. At the moment, this is literally the only things I'm growing on, and I didn't even plant them. It's been given to me by Mike, one of my allotment neighbours, and yeah, some little winter cabbages, which I've just about managed to keep caterpillar free, despite not being netted. So if there's a few gaps in the brassica bed, when these are a little bit bigger, because they're still a little small, they'll just get slugged at the moment. So yeah, I'll be hopefully keeping those going and planting them out. Just before I harvest them, I've got to show you up close. I was going to just get in and harvest, but I was like, and they won't be able to see just how nice it is in here. Starting with these, look, the Crimson Crush are still coming. And in fact, you know what I'm going to do? This has just reminded me. Today is the day I'm going to take a load of Sideshoots and take them home to overwinter. Mark my words, I'm going to do that. So the Crimson Crush looking really good. My Dorset Naga chili looking pretty good as well now. It's got quite a, well, it's not as good as I was hoping, but that's still some nice pods and things to harvest. The black strawberry, something's had a little nibble, but there's still lots and lots on here. In fact, this is all black strawberry. This is probably one of the most prolific ones that I've grown. There's loads over there. There's loads here still going. That is wild. And then there's still some black moon as well in there and up there. So I'll do a little harvest and we'll see what we got. A bit of time, a lot of sun later. It's another day where I've worn the wrong clothes and I'm far too hot because I'm in the greenhouse. But look at this. Oh, look at it. Look at it. Isn't that just wonderful? I love that it's coming towards the end of September. Well, it is the end of September. And this is still, I always kind of think of September as, you know, the beginning of the end, but it's not. For me, it's really the start of a lot of the kind of what I think of as summer harvests, well into autumn. One thing that I did miss, loads of brads. Loads of these kind of green brads, which are nice in a sauce. They're not so nice on their own, I find. Lots of this black strawberry continuing to just amaze me. And as well, a lot of black moon, which I'm really pleased with because this has got to be one of my all-time favourites of this year. Crimson Crush, good doer. Ah, just brilliant, brilliant. Took a few spring onions as well, which are morphing in. They're starting to look like almost full onions, but they're still good. They're still good, so why not? Next thing, I want to take a few Sideshoots. So I went away, spent a little bit of time trying to find where all of my stuff was in the greenhouse, you know, my pots, my labels, that kind of thing. I've not seen those in months, but I found a little bit. So I'm going to fill up some of these, just little pots with compost. It's been so long since I did anything like this, sowing seeds or planting things, and it's been kind of a relief, you know, to not have to worry about that and be able to focus on other things. But doing it now, I'm getting a proper little bit of excitement creeping in. It almost feels like spring, you know. Oh, this still looks really nice. I'm gonna make a mess doing this. I tried this last year for the first time with the tomatoes, and I was really pleasantly surprised. I thought it might be one of those things where it's like, you can do it, but you know, it doesn't really work, or it's a bit too fiddly, or, you know, the plants are a bit sad and weird. A lot of things sometimes, if you overwinter them, chilies, I find people ask me all the time, do I overwinter chilies? And I do not, because I find when they come back to life after their kind of dormant winter period, they're just a bit weird. They're kind of out of sorts. They fruit at weird times. They go through strange phases of growth. They just don't behave like a nice fresh seed, which knows, you know, it's like it knows what it needs to do. I'm anthropomorphizing a little bit, but you know what I mean. But this tomato side shoot trick worked such a treat. It's just so nice. Sowing compost into pots feels so novel. It's always a matter of time though, isn't it? And prioritising, and I'm just really busy on that polytunnel. I think the right decision. Right, let's take some side shoots. The actual process of doing this is so simple and easy, but the difficult bit is picking which plants you want to grow on for next year. One thing I'm tempted to do is this indigo blue chocolate, which is one of the tastiest tomatoes that I grew, but it just didn't come right. It's got just weird leaf, and because of that, because I think this is a bit of a weird plant, I'm not going to take side shoots from this one, because I think it's quite likely to pass on whatever is going on here, whether it's genetic or phenotypical, or I don't know, I'm making up words, but I'm going to sow some more seeds for that one. But one that I do want to grow again, look at this, orange accordion. I saw Jane's growing garden had got a really nice harvest of these, and they're just so funky. So cool. So I definitely want to grow one of those. So I'm just looking down the main stem, looking for a bit where you've got a leaf. You can see here one that I've pruned away, where you've got a leaf that comes out normally at a right angle, and then you get a diagonal side shoot. That's what we're looking for. So this kind of fresh light growth, I can tell this is a side shoot, but it's a bit big. You can see where it's come out here. This was a leaf that was pruned, and then you've got the side shoot come in. But we just want to find a kind of small, a young side shoot to take. This one is perfect, and you can just snap it off side to side. When they're nice and young, they come off really easy. And that is what we're going to plant. The success rate of these can vary a bit, but it's as simple as just making a hole, homemade dibber, and then if you've got one like this, you probably just want to take this leaf off so that it's got a bit more stem to go in, and that should root really nice and readily. And I'm not sure kind of the success rates. I'm not, maybe 50% you can expect to come good. So what I do is put 2 or 3 side shoots in each of these. If all of them survive, then you just cull off the kind of the smaller ones and leave one in the pot. And I'm going to do 3 for each of the plants. So kind of 2 or 3, 2 or 3, 2 or 3, and that will give me maybe hopefully 4 kind of successful orange accordion plants. And we'll see how they do. So I've just done a few orange accordion. You can see I've labelled. Do not forget your labels, especially when you've got just little tomatoes. They're all going to look exactly the same, so you won't be able to tell the difference. And you can see I've got one in here, far too big. I don't think it's ideal to do one this big, but an issue I've found is actually I've pruned off loads of the side shoots, and it's not very conducive to taking these. So what I'm going to do is consider this the start of the process and leave these in the greenhouse for a little while. Yeah, they're unlikely to get taken by slugs, fingers crossed, and if they do, it means we're quite early. We're doing this quite early, so there's still time to take a few more, unless, you know, blight strikes or something. Touch wood. Hopefully it will be okay, but this is the start, and as the season goes on, I can take more side shoots as I see them, and I'll have this all prepared and ready in the greenhouse. And then once it's full, I'll take it home, just put it somewhere where it gets a little bit of sun and it's above kind of that kind of 5 degrees. It's 10 degrees that it needs to be over for actual growth, but the plants will understand with the lack of light and the low days, they should go into that kind of dormant stage. Last year I just had mine on the office windowsill, which only gets about 2 or 3 hours of sunlight in the morning, and they all survived really, really nicely. So I'll probably do that again this season. Unfortunately, I've run out of time, so I've got to stop now, but thank you ever so much for joining me. Give this a go. I swear it is definitely worth it. Give it a go. Let me know if you've done it before, or if you're planning on doing it in the comments, and hopefully I'll see you again next time. An extra special thank you to all of my Chili Pepper tier patrons: Tony, Bill, Pam, Louise, Mel, Michael, Denise, Socks in the Garden, and Andrew. You help so much.